You get up to make coffee. Your dog gets up. You walk to the bathroom and close the door. Your dog sits down on the other side of it. You move to the couch, and within 30 seconds, they have repositioned within 3 feet of you. You have probably stopped noticing it. It is just what your dog does. This particular dog, in this particular house, following this particular person through every room. Most owners explain it as affection or habit or the quirk of a breed that needs a lot of attention. What almost no one asks is why this behavior, following a single person through every transition of an ordinary day, is consistent enough across breed, age, and temperament that behavioral researchers treat it as one of the most diagnostic things a dog can do. There is one finding in the research on this behavior that reframes the entire question, not about your dog's attachment to you, but about what your dog is actually tracking. It will come later, and once you have it, the following will not look the same. Start with what the behavior actually is, because most owners are not quite labeling it correctly. It feels like affection. It looks like clinginess. But researchers at Eötvös Loránd University in Budapest spent nearly a decade adapting the same attachment test psychologists use to study human infants, Ainsworth's strange situation procedure, and applying it to dogs. What they found across multiple studies between 2009 and 2018 was that dogs form attachment bonds with their owners that are functionally identical to the secure base effect documented in infant caregiver pairs. The same proximity seeking, the same distress at separation, the same calm at reunion, and critically, the same directionality. The bond does not attach to familiar humans in general. It attaches to a specific person. When that person moves, the attachment system activates. The dog follows. That is not affection in the casual sense. That is attachment behavior, a precise, directional, evolutionarily conserved system that treats a specific individual as the reference point for safety. The dog is not following a warm body around the house. They are following the one nervous system their own has learned to orient around, which raises the next question. Owners notice that their dog does not follow with equal intensity every day. Some mornings the dog trails them from room to room before they have spoken a word. Other days, the dog stays on the couch. Most owners attribute this to the dog's mood. The dog seems restless today. The dog wants something. But researchers at Queen's University Belfast in 2022 ran a study with 36 participants and 4 dogs that points toward a different explanation. Using breath and sweat samples collected from participants before and after a stressful mental arithmetic task, they found that dogs could correctly identify the stress-related odor samples at 93.8% accuracy. The dogs were not reading body language. They were reading chemistry. Changes in the owner's physiological state were detectable to the dog through scent alone, before any visible behavioral signal had been given. Then, consider what this means for following. Your dog possesses approximately 300 million olfactory receptors, compared to approximately 6 million in humans. By the time you stand up and move to another room, your dog has already been processing your chemical signature, its composition, its shifts, for minutes. The behavior that looks like following may begin not with your movement, but with your scent. The dog is already oriented toward you before you have made a single observable action. And once they have closed the distance, something specific happens. Something that goes well beyond 2 bodies occupying the same room. Researchers at the University of Jyväskylä in Finland in 2024 measured heart rate variability across 30 dog owner pairs during 6 different conditions, including rest, separation, and reunion. Heart rate variability is one of the clearest available measures of how the autonomic nervous system is functioning. High variability signals a relaxed, regulated state. Low variability signals activation of the stress response. What the Finnish team found was that the HRV patterns of bonded pairs were correlated across every condition they tested, with synchronization strongest during rest and physical proximity. When the same measurement was taken with dogs and unfamiliar humans, no synchronization appeared at all. This only happens within bonded pairs. Think about what that means. When your dog follows you through the house and settles beside you, what is occurring is not simply proximity. 2 autonomic nervous systems, from 2 different species, are co-regulating each other. Your dog's physiological state is being shaped by yours, and the research shows the regulation runs in both directions. Proximity is not the endpoint of the following behavior. It is the mechanism. And when that mechanism is interrupted, even briefly, even routinely, something measurable happens. Researchers at the University of Milan in 2010 installed cameras in the homes of 23 dogs and recorded what happened after the owner left. Vocalization began at an average of 3 minutes and 15 seconds after departure. Destructive behavior followed within 7 minutes. But the more precise finding was what came after the noise stopped. As vocalization decreased, panting increased. Heart rate remained elevated. The dog had not settled. It had shifted from one expression of physiological activation to another. The dog sitting outside a closed door is not waiting patiently. Their autonomic nervous system has already registered the interruption of its co-regulatory anchor. 7 minutes. That is how long it took before the shoes were at risk. But more than that, it is a window into what the proximity was doing in the first place. The dog is not simply enjoying closeness. They are maintaining something their nervous system requires, which leads to the finding that changes the direction of the entire question. Earlier, the forward reference in this script asked what your dog is actually tracking. The answer most owners assume is you, your presence, your warmth, your voice. And that is not wrong, but it is not the complete picture. In 2019, researchers at Linköping University in Sweden measured long-term cortisol levels in 58 dog owner pairs, captured in hair samples that reflect hormonal accumulation across weeks and months. Not the spike of a single stressful moment, but the chronic baseline. The levels were synchronized. Stressed owners corresponded to stressed dogs. Calm owners corresponded to calm dogs. And when the researchers examined the direction of that relationship, which one was predicting the other? The answer was unambiguous. The owner's cortisol was predicting the dog's, not the reverse. Here is what that means for following. Dogs in pairs with chronically elevated owner cortisol showed increased proximity seeking as a behavioral output. The dog was not driving the distress. The dog was responding to it, moving closer, maintaining contact, staying within range of the nervous system their own system had been tracking for months. The dog that follows you to every room may be doing so, in part, because you need it, not because they do. That reframes the behavior entirely. It is not dependence. It is a form of attentiveness, running below the threshold of language, calibrated to a signal you may not know you are sending. Think about that. Your dog has built a model of you, your scent profile, your movement rhythms, your stress chemistry, and they are running that model continuously. The following is the behavioral output of a system that treats your proximity as a regulatory necessity. When you are in range, their nervous system has its reference point. When you move, they recalibrate. When your cortisol climbs, their proximity seeking intensifies. Owners who describe their dogs as shadows often say it with mild exasperation. The dog underfoot in the kitchen, the dog at the bathroom door, the dog repositioning the moment you shift on the couch. What the research describes is something more exacting than affection and more purposeful than habit. Across months and years of proximity, your dog's autonomic baseline has been calibrated against yours. Their following is not a request for your attention. It is evidence of what they have already done with it. Built an internal model of your nervous system, precise enough to detect when it shifts, and responded by closing the distance. That is not clinginess. That is the full weight of what this animal has done with its trust. If you want to understand what happens to that system when you leave the house entirely, what your dog is actually doing in those hours, and what the cameras have spent 30 years showing us, that is the next video.